You're listening to Weird Medicine with Dr. Steve on the Riotcast Network, riotcast.com.
I've got diphtheria crushing my esophagus. I've got Ebola virus dripping from my nose. I've got the leprosy of the heart valve, exacerbating my incredible woes. I want to take my brain out and blast it with the wave, an ultrasonic, echographic, and a pulsating shave. I want a magic pill for all my ailments, the health equivalent to Citizen Kane. And if I don't get it now in the tablet, I think I'm doomed and I'll have to go insane. I want a requiem for my disease, so I'm paging Dr. Steve. Dr. Steve!
It's Weird Medicine, the first and still only uncensored medical show in the history of broadcast radio, now a podcast. I'm Dr. Steve with my little pal Dr. Scott, the traditional Chinese medical practitioner who keeps the alternative medicine wackos at bay. Hello, Dr. Scott.
Hey, Dr. Steve.
She who will do most anything for a glass of expensive wine, it's Lady Diagnosis.
Hey, Dr. Steve.
And she who won't do anything no matter what I do, it's my wife, Tacey.
Hello!
This is a show for people who would never listen to a medical show on the radio or the internet. If you have a question you're embarrassed to take to your regular medical provider if you can't find an answer anywhere else, give us a call at 347-766-4323. That's 347-POOHEAD. You're listening to us live. The number 754-227-3647. That's 754
Bear nip.
or 754-22-penis, which is my favorite. Oh, wait. Oh, you pulled the old switcheroo on me, Lady Diagnosis. Follow us on Twitter at Weird Medicine, at Lady Diagnosis, and at DrScottWM. Visit our website at weirdmedicine.com or drsteve.com for podcasts, medical news, and stuff you can buy. Or go to our merchandise store at cafepress.com/weirdmedicine. Most importantly, we are not your medical providers. Take everything here with a grain of salt. Don't act on anything you hear on this show without talking it over with your doctor, nurse practitioner, physician assistant, pharmacist, chiropractor, acupuncturist, yoga master, physical therapist, or whatever.
Or health system administrated.
Or health system administrative assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Very
it's
good.
funny how people think those people know answers.
Well, you do know answers. You know everything.
She knows things.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget to go to stuff.drsteve.com where you can buy anything. Stuff.drsteve.com helps keep Weird Medicine Riotcast on the air. Tweakedaudio.com, offer code FLUID for 33% off. The best earbuds for the money on the market and the best customer service anywhere. Check out Dr. Scott's website at simplyherbals.net. And I'm going to use some of his Simply Herbals
nasal spray.
Sinus rinse.
Ooh, sinus rinse.
Good stuff.
We'll see if my voice clears up.
That sounds really lovely.
Buffered saline.
Disgusting.
It's got some peppermint oil in it, and which is an anti-inflammatory at the level of the mucous membrane.
Yep.
At least that's what he claims. But I can tell you it's my favorite. It really works well. Check out blueapron.com/medicine for your first 3 meals free. And if you want to hear archives of the show, go to premium.drsteve.com. That's premium.drsteve.com for $1.99. You can get archives of all of the shows plus some premium content. And my favorite way to do that is to get the Weird Medicine app from the App Store or Google Play Store. And it's very seamlessly integrated that way. All right? Very good. Okay. Hey, let's take a few phone calls.
Don't take advice from some asshole on the radio.
And that would be the first thing. On the phone, we have Richard David Smith, who we teased last time. We were having technical difficulties. Couldn't get him on, but he's here now. Richard David Smith is the owner and proprietor of Hyper-Flu-Zzics. That's Hyper, F-I-Z-Z-I-C-S, the energy drink for nerds. Richard, thanks for being on the show.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Steve.
So first off, how's everything going with Hyper-Flu-Zzics these days? Hey, Tacey,
really
your son keeps calling. Would you answer that? Sorry. We're very professional here on the podcast.
Your son?
Yeah, our son. So anyway, tell us how things are going with Hyper-Flu-Zzics these days.
So, yeah, we're going well. We sold at well, we live in Seattle now. We've been selling at Pike Market, in some local, Comic Cons, and so yeah, it's going well up here. We're trying to establish more of a local presence now, and that's kind of where it's at right now. Our kids are in school now, so we can actually do things during the day.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, last time we saw your kids, they were really little.
Tiny.
So how old are they now?
Right now, my oldest Rex is 6, and youngest Joe is 4.
Okay. Yeah, so it hadn't been that
So, yeah,
long.
now-
I was
now
thinking,
we-
oh, God, maybe they're like 19 and 17.
No.
It hadn't been that long since you were here. But they were really little when
No.
you were here. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, they were. Yeah.
So, and can you still
But
get
yeah,
you can still get it on Amazon?
Yes, you can get it on Amazon, and I have to thank you too. One of your listeners became like one of our best customer.
Oh, really? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Well, I need to order some because we're getting ready to do our marathon drive to Florida. We used to always fly it. I was too lazy to drive. And then one year, the hurricane canceled our flights. And we said, by God, we're going anyway. So we just got in the car and drove, and it was awesome. But only Hyper-Flu-Zzics saved me on that one.
I was afraid.
Yeah, I
he was
remember that.
I was afraid he was going to OD on.
Well, I only did 2, but I'll tell you, by the time we got down there, I was like, drive.
Key West.
I got out of the car.
Halfway.
We're going to keep going.
I would argue your 2 was actually 5.
Was
because
it?
I remember being really freaked out about how much energy drink you were drinking.
Okay, well, maybe. But it was good. It,
Yeah, I remember when you did that. Yeah, I remember when you took that trip and had the drinks.
yeah. Anyway.
But I need a good energy drink because I'm not a morning person. Like I just woke up. I mean, it's 11 out here, but I kind of operate on Ron Bennington time.
Yeah, I understand. I wish I could. I used to be able to sleep till 2 in the afternoon when I was in college, and now, if I sleep to 7:30, I'm really sleeping late. And but anyway, yeah, cool, man. Well, good. Good luck with that venture. We definitely support you in that, and any sort of
Yeah, thank you.
nerd endeavors we're always in favor of. At least I am, anyway. And Tacey married a nerd, so she should be by default supportive. So, but that's not why you called today. So what's going on? Give us the scoop.
Oh well, it's kind of just a reminder for everyone to get their flu shot. It's important. This, but
Tell your story
anti-vaccine
why,
is-
because you were not always such a flu shot enthusiast.
No, I mean, I would get it, but I wasn't like, an advocate. But the reason now that, that's kind of become my thing is that the flu almost killed me a few years ago, as you know.
And well, we say,
actually,
oh,
when
I took such a giant dump it almost killed me, and we're speaking metaphorically. You're not actually speaking metaphorically. It literally almost killed you. What happened?
Yeah, right. So it was actually when we were moving across the country, and which is like probably the time you need the vaccine the most, but I neglected to get it that year. So we're driving all around the country. We're actually moving to Seattle, and we're driving up the California coast, and suddenly I have problems breathing, like really like, I needed to open the windows, and it felt like I couldn't get a full breath no matter what I did. So, and I'm like you, once I get going driving, I can do it forever pretty much. And so of course, I just want to keep trucking along. And then eventually I just had to pull over the car, and say, I got to rest for a few minutes. I feel horrible. And then that's when my wife, Shatai, who you also know,
Sure.
she said, it's time to get this looked at. I have a feeling if you fall asleep, you might not wake up. So we're in Vacaville, California. I'm like, all right, well, let's go to this hospital in Vacaville.
2 little kids
And
in the
always
car.
remember-
You got all your crap in a car,
Right.
and your
Yeah.
wife is going, I'm afraid you're not going to wake up. That had to be terrifying for her.
Oh, yeah. And then really she had the worst part of all this. And you're right, yeah, we were moving across the country and we threw away everything except what we could fit in my 99 Mercury Grand Marquis.
I remember.
And Yeah, you remember. So here we are. So we stop at the hospital. I get admitted, and they were kind of a little bit sick too, but not to my degree. So they took a look at me, and then they took me in to a room. They admitted me, and they couldn't really figure out what it was. And they were asking me if I was a smoker, which I'm not. And they were asking me all these, they were testing me for everything. They tested me for HIV. One of the guys thought it was valley fever because we had just been through the desert.
Sure.
And so they said, well, we can go into your lungs and look and actually get a sample out, or we can just start giving you antibiotics. But it might be too late. Right. So I actually had them just go in and get it because I just wanted to know what the hell it was. And I kind of had a nervous ninny doctor, so he I think he kind of messed up when he went in there. And so he come after he's getting the sample, he screws up, I think. And I never saw him again after that.
Wow.
So they bring me out. And I'm on life support suddenly, and my wife sees me and she's thinks I'm dead.
Oh,
she's like, what's going on? And they were like, well, something kind of went wrong, and his oxygen level reached 0, so we had to put him on the ventilator.
Ugh.
So and so they had me there on the ventilator. They still don't know what's going on. So they brought in basically their house MD, like resident, genius doctor.
Right.
Because none of these doctors could figure anything out. And so he comes in. They take a look at my, they see that I have pneumonia. So my lungs are like ravaged from, I guess when you have the flu, the bacteria that are already in your lungs start attacking you, and your immune system's down.
Yeah, and you probably had diffuse pneumonia instead of, like pneumococcal pneumonia, like sort of what we think of as pneumonia. There's lots of different types of pneumonia, but that was the one that got Jim Henson. Usually causes a lobar pneumonia. In other words, it'll be in one section of the lung, one of the lobes of the lung. I'm assuming yours was patchy and all over the place, so-called atypical pneumonia, which is why they checked you for HIV. But anyway, go on.
Oh, okay, so that's why they did that. Yeah, I was wondering why they tested me for HIV. So they, and then, so when all is said and done, they find out that I had the flu. That's what I had. That's what knocked me on my ass. And I was like, and then they started treating me, they had me there. They started treating me for the pneumonia. So they started pumping me with like every antibiotic, and eventually I came back. So that's pretty much the story there. But
what time of year was this?
The fact that this was, I'm going to say late March, early April.
Yeah, so it was at the end of the influenza season, what we would normally think of as being influenza season. And you passed through the valley, so they thought, they're thinking all these zebras. This is the problem.
So if it had been January, they might have started with
maybe. So how did they figure out it was influenza? They did a influenza test?
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what they did, and I didn't realize it was so hard to diagnose.
It's not.
Or maybe it isn't.
It's the easiest thing in the world to diagnose, but you got to think of it.
So I guess, right? I guess just nobody thought of it because of the severity, but until a few days after I was in there. So yeah, that's how they finally got it. And, it took a while. I was in there for like a week, just getting pumped with antibiotics, and
and the reason I use the zebra metaphor is people, if you're in a field in Tennessee or in Seattle and you hear the clip-clop of hoof beats behind you, when you turn around, you're going to assume you're going to see a horse, not a zebra, right?
Right.
So that's the same in medicine. When you see these syndromes, we really should be thinking, we need to keep the zebras in the back of our mind because, maybe there's a zoo nearby and something got loose or somebody was keeping exotic animals. But you got to not forget about the horses. And in your case, it was the end of what you would have thought would be the influenza season because it's already spring out there in California. Nobody's thinking influenza. You just passed through the valley, and they thought you had valley fever, which is a zebra in this case, although the symptoms can be similar. Valley fever is a fungal infection caused by coccidiosis,
Coccidiosis.
and that's it causes coccidiomycosis. That one I can say. The actual the organism itself is a little harder to say, but coccidiomycosis, and it causes fever, cough, chest pain, chills, night sweats, headache, fatigue, joint aches, but normally a red spotty rash as well. And so they were wondering if that's what possibly you had. But go ahead.
Oh yeah, they did. They were checking me for rashes.
Yeah, coccidioides. That's it's been a long time since medical school. I haven't had to say that word since since infectious disease rotation. But anyway, so they're looking for all that stuff, and but what you really had was influenza. So now,
right, and I think a lot of people think they have the flu. They just have the norovirus. They don't really have the flu. Because when you really go through the flu, it kicks your ass.
Yeah. Well, and it can be a mild syndrome for some people. Even the Spanish flu epidemic of 1918, it infected anywhere between 10 and 30% of the world's population. 1% of the world's population died from it. But that still means 99% of the world's population did not die from it. And the majority of people didn't get it, and the majority of people who got it didn't die and didn't even come close. But, these days, thank goodness for ventilators and Tamiflu and stuff like that we think that an influenza pandemic like the 1918 flu epidemic probably wouldn't be as devastating, because we would at least have the ability to support people on the ventilator like they did with you. They didn't really, particularly the antibiotics, didn't do anything to cure you. What they did was they put your body in a position where it could ride out the infection, let the immune system kill the virus and clean up the mess. So they were able to support your breathing with the ventilator and other medications and interventions that they did until your body just got better, Because, I tell people we don't heal anybody in medicine. We just put the body in a position where it can heal itself. So, which now I sound like Dr. Scott.
That's right.
But it really is
yourself
true.
out.
Yeah, the guys like twins.
Twinkies.
And as you know, I went into vaccine research after that as my day job. And, because know thy enemy, I think, is the best. Especially when something almost kills you. It's like suddenly you become very interested in that thing, whatever it is. If a grizzly bear took a swipe at you, you'd be obsessed with grizzlies for the rest of your life.
Sure. So what have you learned in your job that you might not have known before? And is there anything new coming down the pike that you guys are talking about at work that maybe we don't know about?
They're working mainly. They kind of want a one size fits all vaccines. Is kind of what mosaic vaccines.
Yep.
Is one of the big things that they're working on. And in my particular job, I don't work with the flu virus. We do work with HIV, Ebola, and malaria.
Damn.
Yeah. And those particular ones are ravage countries like Africa, and so we're doing a lot of research in that, and we have satellite labs now all over the country, and we're really sort of still in the data collecting process of what we're doing. As you know, it takes years of data collection and analysis, but the technology is getting great to the point where you can analyze things at an extremely fast rate, and so you can go through a bunch of tests, very quick, much quicker than you could. Exponentially, it's increasing. So I think that's where the real breakthroughs will come.
Well, people don't remember polio. I remember polio. I had a kid in my class, my kindergarten class, died from measles. Had 3 or 4 people in my school that were in wheelchairs because of polio. Nobody remembers any of this stuff. The vaccine, the vaccine researchers really are sort of unsung heroes, and they get dumped on so bad, but by this anti-vaccination movement too. And
the anti-vax movement is stronger than it's ever been. And I always wonder, like, even if you're a naturalist, right? Why would there's almost nothing more natural than a vaccine. It's getting your own body to fight the disease. So I don't understand why they. And then if you thought all of these doctors all across the country were evil scientists who were injecting you with things that knowingly give you, autism, then why would you ever go to the doctor to begin with?
Yeah. Yeah. The people who are into homeopathy should love vaccines. Mm-hmm. They tend to be the anti-vaxxers, but homeopathy says, like prevents like,
right.
And they'll use very small amounts of a toxic substance that maybe causes abdominal pain to treat abdominal pain. Well, what's more homeopathic in that regard, except this has data behind it that shows that it works, to take a small amount of a virus or a piece of a virus and inoculate yourself with it to prevent that disease. Come on.
Right.
Use your own logic.
I said that. Right, I said that in one of our conferences, and the guy was like, I never thought of that, but that's true. It's a good way to, talk to an anti-vaxxer rather than just calling them an idiot,
Right. No, calling them an idiot, they just dig in their heels. There's no question about that.
Right, yeah. So, it's very important. Everybody should get the vaccine, and, it's just, I can't emphasize that part enough.
Yeah, and it won't stop you 100% from getting influenza. It's all about mitigating risk. The 1 year I got influenza, I'd gotten exposed to the flu mist and influenza vaccine, and the quadrivalent vaccine, AKA the flu shot. And I went to a meeting and I was coughing and sneezing all over everywhere. It was in October. It's when I normally get allergies, and I just said, "Don't worry, everybody. It's just allergies." The next day, I woke up and I asked Tacy to check my temperature because I felt horrible and I was shivering. And she got out the thermometer for the kids, and my temp was 105. Now, when you're my age and your temp is 105, you start crapping yourself, because I really was thinking, I'm going to end up on the ventilator like Richard. Maybe I'm a lot older than he is. Maybe I won't survive. And but because I'd had the flu, I'm convinced that because I'd had the flu vaccine, I sailed right through it. All I had to do was sit for a week because they wouldn't let me come back to work, and I watched CW DC shows. I got caught up on 4 seasons of Arrow.
Well, hell, we did a show that damn day. You're like, oh no, I think it's just the damn.
Oh,
really?
Yeah, hell yeah, you were sicker than shit.
Well, I didn't remember that. Yeah. Did I make you go get Tamiflu or Relenza?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I remember now.
I think maybe so, yeah.
Because I called in Tamiflu for everybody that was at the meeting that wanted it.
That's right.
And then anybody I was exposed to. Tamiflu, that makes Tacy throw up, right?
Spontaneously vomit.
So we switched to Relenza. Now, if you can get Relenza, I like it better than Tamiflu.
It's hard to get, though.
It is hard to get, and these pharmacists need to stock it. Relenza is an inhaled version of the anti-influenza medication, and you get this little inhaler, and you just inhale it. It doesn't go to your GI tract, so you don't get sick to your stomach. And for my kids at that time, they weren't, taking big pills. The Relenza was awesome, so I'm a big fan of it. But anyway, I think that one's been underappreciated.
Today's episode is brought to you by Angie. Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs and projects done well. Let me tell you, there's the version of it where you try to do something at home, and then there's a version of it where you have someone help you, you watch them do it the right way, and you go, thank God I didn't try to do that myself. I have fully done things around the home that I think look good, and then a bang in the night, and I wake up to a shelf collapsing, a painting falling off the wall. I've seen it all go south. I own a home, and I can tell you, I know how much work it can take. Whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality, it can be hard just to know where to start. But now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Whatever your home project, big or small, indoor or outdoor. You can Angie that and connect with skilled professionals to get the project done well. Right now, one of my wish lists is I want a bike for my condo in Milwaukee, and I would love to rig it up on a pulley in the ceiling because I have one of those like lofted ceilings, but I'm so scared to try that on my own. Angie has 20 years of home experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app. Answer a few questions and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
And the antivirals are getting much better these days. We have some on hand, and if you can use them like 24 to 48 hours, if you get a virus to prevent it.
Huh.
And then there's the PrEP. You've heard of that, right?
Yeah, PrEP. Yes, of course. Yeah, for HIV.
Yeah, that's an amazing one that I didn't know about before I worked there, but everybody who's sexually active should know about it.
Yeah, if you're at high risk, PrEP is at high risk of getting HIV. PrEP is an awesome drug. It's a daily pill for people who don't have HIV and want added protection, and it's mostly covered by insurance as well. It's reduces the risk of getting HIV from sex by more than 90%. And among people who inject drugs, it reduces the risk of getting HIV by more than 70%. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah, it is,
right.
And that's stuff that people just don't, didn't seem to know about. So we kind of spread that information in the community. And another big thing we study is non-progressors. I'm sure you know this too, but it's people that have HIV.
Oh, yes.
But it's almost, but their body is showing it's not progressing at all.
How many of those folks are there? There was at one time there were only one or two that we knew about, and then I guess there are a lot more now that we're following.
Yeah, there was one case of a guy who completely became cured of HIV. Yeah. But this isn't him. These are people that have it, but it's not progressing. There's actually more than there's not many at all. It seems like a lot to me because I'm in the lab and I see the things coming in.
You see them.
Yeah, but yeah, they're actually pretty rare. So we study the hell out of those people. That's how you basically discover things, is by testing a bunch of people's immune responses and
trying to find out the common.
Trying to isolate, what it is.
My immunology professor said, the person that first sequenced, in other words, figured out the amino acid sequence for the immunoglobulins, for example, in the body. These are weird sort of Y-shaped molecules. He said the first person that did that didn't know anything. It was the second person that did it knew everything, because then you could see which things were exactly the same and which ones were different from molecule to molecule. And that's how they figured out where the active sites on immunoglobulins are and how they actually work, how do they attach to antigens, and then what do they do once they do that. It's fascinating. And science is kind of this stepwise approach. You got to do the first thing, and you got to put one foot in front of the other until you get as much data as you need to make some conclusion. So it is fascinating. But anyway.
Yeah, and that's oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, we really are looking forward to getting a single vaccine, one size fits all for influenza. Once we get that, you get one flu shot and maybe a booster, and you'll never have to worry about influenza the rest of your life. So that's a good one. So, hopefully, and it'll work as well as measles vaccine and all those. It's the rate of people that get measles that have been vaccinated for measles is vanishingly small. I don't think I've ever seen a single case of tetanus in any person that's ever gotten the tetanus vaccine. So that's something. So
do you think that any doctor has done more harm in modern times than Andrew Wakefield?
Well, I don't know. Dude, I don't even want to comment on that. It's just get your damn vaccines, vaccine science as well. There's no question that there are downsides to vaccines. Bad things can happen, but right. We wear our seatbelt not because we expect to get in a wreck, but just in case we do get in a wreck. And we know that the risk of wearing the seatbelt, which is about 1 in a million people will be harmed by wearing a seatbelt in a collision, is far outweighed by the number of people who are saved or prevented from harm from wearing a seatbelt, which is probably 1 in 2. So, is there risk to wearing your seatbelt? Yes, but it's vanishingly small and is far, far outweighed by the benefit of wearing it. And that's the same way with vaccines. So.
One last thing I want.
Yeah, man.
One last thing I wanted to say was there's a doctor named. Actually, I don't know if he's a doctor. There's a man named Trevor Bedford and he has these. He's created like these cool maps where you can see how you can kind of track the flu as it. He created these models, and I don't know how he did it. People a lot smarter than me work with me, but you can actually track like the mutation and the global migration of the virus.
Cool.
So, yeah. So I mean, if anyone's interested in that kind of thing, it's like a real time tracker.
Well, how would they find that?
Trevor, just Google Trevor Bedford. Okay. Bedford, and then put influenza, and it'll be like the first thing that pops up.
All right, we'll do it. So Richard David Smith, founder of Hyper-Flu-Zzics with his wife Shatai, says, get your damn flu shot.
Get your damn flu shot. Just do it. Don't be an asshole.
Right.
You can do it.
And I just got my stupid nut checked last week.
Awesome. Well, there you go. So, quit smoking, get your stupid nuts checked, get some exercise. It's good advice for everyone.
Yes.
All right. Hey, take care, man.
Thank you, Dr. Steve.
I'm really glad you survived influenza, and it's always, we need to have you on every year because then it's not just me saying it; it's somebody who's been through it who knows that's saying it.
And even if it doesn't hurt you very bad, if you get the flu, say you visit your Nana before you know you have it, and then she gets it, and then it kills her. Get your damn flu shot.
Yeah, good point.
No, that's what she said was really important. Yeah, that's where we work in the Cancer Research Center, because we actually treat patients also. The workers there have to get the flu shot, because if you come in there and give someone who's vulnerable, like she said, then it's even more catastrophic. So if you're even visiting someone who you think could be compromised,
we get fired if we don't get our flu shot by a certain time of the year. I mean, you will actually you'll lose your job, and there isn't any any kind of exceptions for that.
Yeah, it's not just about you and whether you want a shot or not.
Yeah, they even say if you're allergic to eggs that you can probably get it, and talk to your healthcare provider about that. But the CDC says that that's overblown. Anyway, all right. Hey, take it easy, man. Thanks so much. Give our best to your lovely wife and your kids, and hope we'll see you in person one of these days.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Steve.
Okay, man.
Nice talking to you.
Okay, you too. What a good guy.
Good feeler.
How do you know it's the flu? I mean, if I was getting my electric worked on the other night, and my electrician, he was fine when he got there. All of a sudden, he starts sweating. And then he says, I don't feel very good. He says, I'm going to step outside. And before he could get from where he was in the middle of my house, which is 10 feet from the door, he ran in the bathroom, which was 2 feet from him, and vomited for 10 minutes.
Stomach flu.
Ooh.
Stomach flu.
So he was fine when he got there.
When was this?
Wednesday.
Oh, great.
Oh, if you brought
Get out.
puke bug in here.
Get out.
It couldn't be the flu to hit that fast. Was it food poisoning, you think? Or would it
Well,
be
it could
the
be
flu?
just a puke bug.
Yeah.
But you
does
can
flu hit that quick?
You can, but you can get nausea and vomiting from influenza as well.
It was shocking how quickly it hit him.
Yeah.
When I got it last year, the flu.
Can you imagine being in somebody else's house and you're just in their bathroom puking for 10 minutes?
I was on a plane and this girl next to me was going, and she wasn't covering her mouth,
Lord.
and I was like, fuck. And I was just stuck there breathing her. And then 3 days later.
Got sick.
Got sick.
And that's something. Well, moving on. Hey, guys. It's never a good look when you untuck a long, bulky dress shirt. You may think it makes you look casual, but more than likely it just ends up looking sloppy. That's why Untuck It makes shirts specifically designed to be worn untucked. A casual shirt that's not too long and not too short, it's just right. Shirts designed so well, GQ calls them perfection. They're a go-to for any occasion from casual to dressy, and not only do they look good, they feel great. And my wife and I can attest to this. She bought me one, and then I bought 3 more.
Very handsome.
They're awesome because you don't like it when I tuck my shirts in because then I look like a nerd.
Well, some shirts need to be tucked. Beach shirts don't
Not
need.
so much.
Yeah,
Right.
Hawaiian shirts. Yeah.
Right. Well, see, I learned things. She teaches me. And, you know, Tace, if you're a woman, and I guess you are,
Might be.
wishing you can have one of these shirts, well, Untuck It now makes shirts for women, too.
Ooh.
Shirts for her that are casual, versatile, and designed to last. Log on to untuckit.com and check out all the new arrivals. Use the promo code MEDICINE for 20% off your entire purchase. You can also visit one of Untuckit's over 25 retail locations across the country. Stop hiding your shirt with your pants and your pants with your shirt. Untuckit.com, your solution to perfecting casual attire. Use promo code MEDICINE for 20% savings for first-time customers. That's untuckit.com, promo code MEDICINE.
I'm gonna have to check the woman's out because that sounds really nice.
Yep, we'll do it. All right, very good. Where are we? Oh, we're about 35 in. Let's do one more phone call.
Dr. Steve, this is Jack from Wilmington, North Carolina.
Hey, Jack.
Yes, right where Florence came through. And we were very lucky. Inconvenienced. 5 days, no electricity, bunch of trees down. My question for you is, what is a good way for people that are going to like ride out a big storm, even though they're told they should leave? What kind?
Yeah, don't do it.
Leave.
Just leave.
Leave.
My friend John, who I go to Moogfest with, he just wrote it out, and it's like, dude.
But then they get stuck, and we have to go get them.
Well, sometimes, yeah. He didn't. He was far enough inland and up on a hill that he thought that he wasn't going to get flooded out, and he didn't. But yeah, but that does happen. There are people where that happens to.
Of like small medical emergency packs should they have? Like, how do you treat, say, a burn if you don't have any ice? If you don't have access to like running water, what's a good kit to put together? Cuts, scrapes, things of that nature.
Okay.
A no-power storm kit.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Are you talking a go bag or are you talking a survival?
Sounds like survival.
He wants to stay, and
He
that's
ain't going
different.
nowhere.
Like a first aid.
Yeah.
So the first look, you have to have fresh water. You can't once the reservoirs are topped over with flood water, it becomes tap water is unsafe. So what I have considered doing in the past was getting those, like the Culligan water thing, and just always stay 2 or 3 of those ahead.
Sure.
So you've got those big, giant 5-gallon things. It's purified water. It doesn't go bad. And you can just stack those up and you can have fresh water. That's important. You want some way to be able to communicate. We have a little TV that's battery powered. The new digital TVs, as long as they're transmitting, it's 780p and runs off of 4 AA's. So you want electronic. You need lights. I think oil lights were the key back in the day, but now with these fluorescent things, I bought these little lights that run off of 2 AA's, and they have LEDs in them, and they're flat, and you open them up, and they give off all kinds of light.
Yes.
They're flat, and they just look like books, and you open it up, and then the thing emits light. If people are interested, I could stick those on weirdmedicine.com. Clothes, medications, and then, if you're going to hang out, you need non-perishable food supplies.
What about burns?
Yeah, burn. Okay, so
if you don't have ice.
Well, you don't need necessarily, ice to treat a burn. What you do need are bandages and, antimicrobial ointments and stuff like that, and things that you can clean it with. Cleaning is the big thing.
Clean water. Yeah.
So the fresh water, and then just get a really nice first aid kit. Yep. They say you can buy them just all kinds of places. Just get a big one that's got tons of gauze and ointments and all that kind of stuff in it. And then cash. Make sure you got some cash. And I have a few silver coins in case
gold,
in case
silver,
in case all society breaks down and I've got to bribe my way through a checkpoint and paper money's no good. I've got some of those because I'm a little bit of a nut. So I'm a catastrophist. I think of everything. But non-perishable food, drink, batteries. The generator will get you so far. If you're going to have a generator and you have to have power in your house, then obviously you need gas and all that stuff to go with it.
I think one year for
then you
Christmas,
become a target, though.
He got me a big bucket.
Oh, I got you. Yeah.
That had a bunch of stuff in it, but the bucket could also be used as a toilet.
Right. It had a toilet seat in it, I think.
Yes.
That you would empty all the things out of it, and then you could put the seat on there, and then you could shit and piss into this thing.
It was so romantic.
Well, that was your gag gift that year, but you had said you wanted something.
We still have it, I think.
Yeah, we have 2 of them.
Yeah. So if you don't have one of those, where are you going to poop?
That's right.
You got to have a place to poop.
You're going to be an animal, or are you going to poop in a bucket like a normal human being?
Shit in a bucket.
Now, your old buddy Jim Baker is selling food buckets for the apocalypse on his thing. That's his thing now. Is he's selling food buckets, and they're crazy expensive, and I'm not eating food out of a bucket.
Mm-hmm. I'd eat Chef Boyardee.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That stuff can never go bad,
I
right?
know. And Twinkies.
And so yummy.
Twinkies. Lady Diagnosis will just be loving it. Loving the apocalypse. She'll have an ample supply of white wine, Chef Boyardee, and Twinkies.
No red wine because you don't have to keep it cold.
You gotta have alcohol.
Yeah, you got to be thinking ahead.
I mean, imagine what his 5 days was like without any alcohol.
Horrible.
Who said he didn't?
Can't do any. I mean, but imagine what if he didn't have it.
Yeah. I mean, what else is there
this
to
guy?
do?
Oh, yeah.
You can't watch
Well, my
TV.
friend John doesn't drink, so he was fine. But his cell phone kept working. He was sending us pictures the whole time.
God.
That's we live in a different age. All right.
Your voice sounds better, by the way.
Do you think so? Mm-hmm. Isn't that something?
Amazing.
That's crazy.
Dr. Steve, I started this new diet. Well, it's not really a diet. It's a ratio 18-6 where you fast for 18 hours out of the day and you eat between, I chose 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. to eat all my meals. And then I'll have chicken broth in the evening. But anyway, my scale says that I've lost 2% body fat already just in a couple weeks. And I'm wondering, and I've noticed a difference, but how does my body expel the fat? Is it just through, is it sweating or is it through urine? I'm drinking a lot of water. I haven't really noticed, I think my bowel movements are a lot better. It's probably from eating a little bit less. But
Yeah. No, it's a good question. He's asking, how does the body get rid of these fat cells? If he's losing weight, where are the fat cells going? And it's, you're not pissing out fat. Okay, it's not like the body goes, oh, we don't need this anymore, and now you void it through. Because if you did, then you would see globs of oil on the surface of the bowl. Same thing with defecation. You're not defecating out the fat unless you're malabsorbing. And then you would see oil on the surface, but you're not seeing that. So where does it go? Well, you're just using them up. When you eat fewer calories than you are burning, you got to burn something. And when you exhaust your supply of carbohydrates in the body, which is in the form of glycogen, you will then start eating up fat. That's what's there for. You're storing energy. And those cells get smaller and smaller. Some of them may even die, but they just basically get smaller and fewer, and then that's the end of it. You use them up. So that's all. There you go. That's what happens to fat in your body when you get thinner. What were you going to say, Taze?
Get your flu shot.
Very good.
Don't be an asshole.
Thanks always go to Dr. Scott, Lady Diagnosis, Tacey, the delightful Tacey. We can't forget Rob Sprance, Bob Kelly, Greg Hughes, Anthony Cumia, Jim Norton, Travis Teft, Eric Nagel, Roland Campos, Sam Roberts, Pat Duffy, Dennis Falcone, Ron Bennington, Fez Watley, whose early support of this show has never gone unappreciated. Listen to our SiriusXM show on the Faction Talk channel. SiriusXM channel 103, Saturdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern, on demand, and other times at Jim McClure's pleasure. Many thanks to our listeners whose voicemails and topic ideas make this job very easy. Go to our website at drsteve.com for schedules and podcasts and other crap. Until next time, check your stupid nuts for lumps, quit smoking, get off your asses, and get some exercise. We'll see you in 1 week for the next edition of Weird Medicine.
Bye, everybody.